Welcome to the slide presentation. I'm Frank Lowe's, the Department Head of Horticultural Sciences here at NC State University. And I just want to thank you for your willingness to be part of the advisory board for our department. I also want to thank Debbie Hamrick and the faculty team, John Dole, Tom Rainey, and Massimo Uriso for all the work they did in identifying you and convincing you to be part of the team here. And we really look forward to working with you. I wanted to highlight some of the core components of who we are and what we do here in the department, and that'll also help us be more efficient at our meeting on July 17th. So first of all, I wanted to highlight the components that are part of our department. Of course, we're mostly located in Kilgore Hall in Raleigh, but close to Kilgore Hall and towards western Raleigh, we have the Hort Field Labs. The Arboretum is here, and we have a large area of research and teaching areas, as well as the infrastructure of greenhouses there. We also manage the Fox teaching labs and greenhouses. You can see the number of greenhouses there on the main campus also that we manage. We were very fortunate a couple years ago to secure 20 acres at Lake Wheeler. Here you can see this is a fenced-in area of about 10 acres. It's for ornamental breeding and production evaluation, and we hope to expand that to another 10 acres over time. We're really pleased that the Arboretum and the Center for Environmental Farming Systems are part of the horticulture department. They're their own business units, but under the department. And I'll talk more about our relationship with them. And we're very pleased and proud that we have a strong footprint in Western North Carolina in Mills River. There's 5 faculty there at the Mountain Horticulture Crops Research and Extension Center. And then, of course, they have their teams of people there. And NCARS manages the station. Then we also have 2 faculty in Kannapolis at the Plants for Human Health Institute, and they do a lot of work on post-harvest technologies and horticultural crops, as well as really trying to identify how horticultural crops can enhance human nutrition. And so we have quite a bit of infrastructure and land that we manage, and that's a positive thing and also has its challenges. When I first came, we did a strategic planning initiative within a couple of years, and I'll just read the mission statement that came out of that. We deliver research, artistic design, innovative teaching, extension, and outreach associated with the production and utilization, ecology, breeding, and basic biology of fruit, vegetable, flower, and functional horticultural plants. Through constant evaluation and adjustment, we lead with partners to create a horticultural science hub that optimizes the role of plants in addressing local to global grand challenges. And we do feel we're a hub in working with many different partners in spinning off impacts in education, research, and extension. Through that strategic planning process, we identified 7 key initiatives. The first is to foster a globally recognized crop improvement program that has mostly to do with plant breeding, plant editing, etc. 2, innovatively optimized plant growing systems, and those could be any systems in the field, greenhouses, and other growing systems. We want to design sustainable, resilient horticultural food systems. Grow excellent programs, academic programs. We pursue community engagement, extension, and outreach. We cultivate an international presence, and we nurture a great place to work and learn. And what I want to do, I just want to touch base on some of those just to highlight key points to give you a flavor of our programming. So the most important thing in our department is the people, and we celebrate all the people that work with us and try to enhance their ability to thrive. And if we consider the Arboretum as well as CES, we have a total of 392 people. Some of them are no pay. A lot of times those are visiting scientists that we don't pay. They may have their own money. And we have like 84 undergrad students, and this is for 2024, who might have come in during the summer or different parts of the year or work in the labs. We have 64 grad students, and I'll talk more about that later. And then we have quite a number of different permanent and part-time professionals, including, of course, faculty and staff. We're very pleased that we've been able to grow the number of faculty over the last number of years, and currently we have 42 tenure track and non-tenure track faculty and lecturers. We're also very pleased at the distribution of the responsibilities that those faculty have, and so we have an overall responsibility of 24% in academics, about 26% in extension, about 38% in research, and most people also do about 5% of their time in service to the university or nationally and internationally. And so, of course, these would be partitioned across faculty. Sometimes they'll have research, teaching, or they'll have extension research components as part of their portfolio. We're also very pleased at the distribution of the rankings in our department. We have about 30% full professors, 32% associate professors, and 20% assistant professors, and about 12% lecturers and other faculty that are engaged in the department. We've hired a number of assistant professors recently. For example, Sean Chen is an ornamental breeder. Melinda Knuths, greenhouse floriculture, marketing and economics specialist. Remy Ham specializes in food system and teaching and design. And unfortunately, with deep regret, Remy has moved to Pittsburgh and will end her work with us in August. Jody Dreger is our undergraduate student coordinator and is a lecturer. Carlos Iglesias joined us in the last number of years, and he's the director of the Plant Breeding Consortium, and he came as a full professor. Marcelo Molinari is a research assistant professor in bioinformatics. We have Acer Van Wallendale, and he works in molecular genetics and ecology of weeds and weed science. Emmanuel Torres works in vegetable extension. Xing Zhang is in translational phenomics. And then Michelle Schroeder Moreno and Denisha Seth Carley, both at some point wanted to self-identify with a department. And so Michelle is a full professor and joined our department at that level. And she is also the director for the Center for Environmental Farming Systems. And Denisha Seth Carley is the director of the Center for IPM. And the most recent hire is Roberto Fritsch Nito, who is a vegetable molecular breeder. And he just started in March. In terms of our academic programs, we've had wonderful metrics over the last number of years. And in this graph, I just wanted to highlight the 4-year program. In 2017, we had 91 undergrad students, and that has grown to 186. So more than doubled in the last number of years. And this has been great. I go to a lot of commodity meetings, industry meetings, and grower meetings, and it's enjoyable to talk about how the quality of our students has not only has grown in number, but also in the overall quality of the students. We also focus on 2-year students. The AGI program, COVID substantially impacted the number of students, but our department as well as the college is committed to seeing that grow. And we serve a very distinct and important stakeholder group through our training of AGI students. We're also very pleased at the depth and breadth of our horticulture minor program, 106 in 2024 and 94 in 2025, and that would have just been the spring, of course. And we feel that this is a really good way to bring in students into the horticulture major, but also equip non-majors to be competent in horticultural sciences. The grad student program has also grown substantially in the last few years. And for example, I did a regression analysis over the last 5 years, and you can see we went from 47 to 64 with an R-squared value of 90.93, but growing about 3.4 students per year. Gina Fernandez has highlighted that 64 students is the highest number we've ever had in the department. And in 2024, there were 59 awards given and/or named graduate students, like we had Goodnight graduate students, Fulbrights. A number of students got awards from professional societies like the Hort Society and the Weed Society, and a number of students secured awards through our endowments. Our students are great leaders. We have graduate student organizations that they're highly engaged in, as well as they organize multiple events in the department. Gina has identified, and I fully agree, the rooms for improvement. There's a high level of mental health concern among grad students, especially with funding uncertainty, and the stipends can be low compared to the cost of living in the Raleigh area. And so we really work at that to work with our students to decrease the anxiety levels, as well as try to secure money. The dynamics for graduate funding has been more challenging here in the recent number of months, and I'll highlight some more of that also. In terms of research, just wanted to highlight just a couple of metrics. If we look at these 3 initiatives and the publication output of our faculty, especially in research and also in extension, the orange would be 2024 numbers and the blue 2023 numbers. So you can see in 2024 we had 114 publications in peer-reviewed journals, and more I've seen our faculty go for higher impact journals, which is not a totally critical thing. It enhances the stature of our department, but we do want to make sure that we publish in journals, also in applied journals, where they also have impact. Another 46 were under review, and then 252 research products that were in peer-reviewed publications, but not necessarily journals, as well as abstracts and posters that our faculty are engaged with. Non-refereed research reports, as well as books and book chapters. And also we're quite prolific in getting patents, as well as licensed plants. For example, in 2023 there were 19, in 2024 there were 15. And these, of course, are a very important source of income for our faculty programs, and also for our department, as well as the university. They take their 50% also. In terms of extension publications, again, very prolific. We believe in getting the information out there to our stakeholders, have translative outcomes. And so, for example, in 2024, there were 163 extension products that were published in various venues. In 2023, very similar, with 175. The extension programming is very strong in putting agent training programs together, and working with consumers or farmers and putting programs together for a total number of events of 592 last year. And that included 1,658 contact hours, and my video is hiding it here, but there were a total of over 31,000 people that were trained and or directly impacted by our extension and outreach programs. I want to come back to our relationship with CEFs and the Arboretum. We highly value this relationship, and we work together to understand how we can work synergistically. Each group has their strengths, and we want to continue to foster intercooperation and a relationship with each of those units. And so we're very intentional about that. The Arboretum is directed by Mark Wethington. And just a couple of highlights: they had 262 education programs last year, and the Moonlight in the Garden is the largest non-athletic ticket event at NC State University, and Mark Wethington is quite proud of that, with 12,000 attendees. And the Arboretum last year raised over $2 million, and most of that is through gifts and membership. There's not a substantial number of contracts and grants there, and so they work hard to make ends meet. At the Center for Environmental Farming Systems is a 3-way relationship with NC State and a co-director at North Carolina A&T, and also the North Carolina Department of Agriculture is a very important partner in that. And the programs do research, extension, education in multiple areas. course in sustainable agriculture, but also linking local foods with local supplies, farm to fork programs at the school level, at the daycare level, at the elder care level, doing a lot of food system leadership and career pathway developments, engaging consumers in healthy foods and sustainable agriculture, and just building systems and networks. Advancing research, advancing sustainable agriculture, and advancing communities, their abilities to thrive. Just want to dance through some international aspects that we're highly engaged in. We have a number of faculty that are involved in the root, tuber, and banana breeding programs. This is an international consortium, and of course we're mostly engaged in the root and tuber part with sweet potatoes, potato, and cassava. Regretfully, with the USAID and other federal cuts, organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are shifting more to address human issues that are no longer being funded, and suddenly they decided they're going to cut out their sweet potato and potato support, which is very difficult because they were highly invested in North Carolina, and we were making great advancements in those areas. Another example of an international program is we seek to connect research, education, and outreach, especially in African countries like Kenya. And one example is working with partners there in African indigenous vegetables to think about how can we enhance breeding and nutritive value of those vegetable crops. And Gladys is a master's student. She's here at NC State from Africa, evaluating indigenous vegetables. And we're interested in how it will impact both the African market as well as the US market. And we're seeing new markets open up. In fact, a bunch of students got together and they made a very delicious bar, like a granola type bar from vegetable greens, African vegetable greens. Unfortunately, this area has also been hit hard. In February, we learned that the program was cut, and that puts a lot of financial stress on us, which we haven't totally figured out yet. And our first commitment is to make sure that the graduate students that are affected can make it to the end of their degree. We've done a number of visits and collaborations with people in Moldova, seeing programs grow there, but also in Dominican Republic, multiple African countries, New Zealand, Peru, Serbia, among many other countries around the world. We have a study abroad program for undergrads, and one year they go to Spain, and the next year that program's in Mexico. Has to do with entrepreneurship and sustainable agriculture. And of course, in our department, we license multiple crops worldwide, horticulture, food crops, and ornamental crops. And international activity is a core value. To get full professor, you must be engaged in international activity and be internationally recognized for your expertise. And most faculty, I would say, in our department are engaged in international programs. A major challenge, of course, at NC State University, like a lot of universities, is delayed maintenance and infrastructure, and we continue to invest heavily in there. For example, this is at the Hort Field Labs, our equipment shed. We just put all new protective walls there for protecting the equipment, and put new thrips-proof screening along the greenhouses. Whenever we have someone leave an office and before a new faculty comes in, under the leadership of Mike Parker and Sharon Williamson, we've been able to renovate offices, put in new carpet, new paint, buy all new furniture, which typically the new faculty would buy when they come. So step by step, we renovate these offices. And every time we do a renovation, usually we have to do asbestos abatement, which is an $8,000 to $10,000 cost per office. We also hired consultants to really focus on how we can optimize the research space within Kilgore Hall, and we've invested multiple times in things at Mills River, also with the faculty and programming there. And so, trying to be very intentional about proactively keeping our infrastructure good and also renovating for future opportunities. Raising money is very important to us, and the department has a good long history of that. For example, the department has $10.3 million in endowments, and the Arboretum has $4.2 million, for a total of $14.5 million. And these endowments are very important for us to attract the highest quality of students, to provide students opportunities to travel, and sometimes for emergency funds. And also some of those are named faculty positions, distinguished professors. Since I've been here, I've been able to work quite closely with Alicia Thornton, and we've been able to raise an additional $5.7 million in endowments for multiple purposes. And the Hort Department, we were able to develop a strong relationship with Jude Samolsky, and Jude Samolsky just invested $3 million to enhance genome editing capacity, and that will be housed in the Plant Science Initiative program. In fact, the director was just hired this week on July 7th. We also want to enhance the opportunities at work through a lot of social activities. This is a chili cook-off. It's just a favorite for people to come out. We have ice cream socials. We have a banquet in December. And so people really enjoy having these social events. And we seek and very proactively work to get awards for people. For example, this past year in 2024, multiple awards are highlighted here. But Craig Yensho got the O. Max Gardner Award, which is the highest award possible in the UNC system for a faculty member. And Sylvia Blankenship, Tom Rainey, and Craig Yensho are also fellows in the National Academy of Inventors. Most of them are engineers, so we're very proud to have plants people in there. Emmanuel Torres is one of our most recent hires, but I got identified as the up-and-coming 40 under 40. Here's an example of Gina Fernandez, who's done a lot of work with the strawberry growers, got a service award. John Dole got a very prestigious award from the American Society for Hort Science for integrity and professionalism. Julie Shirk has the NC State Outstanding Teacher Award. Lucy Bradley got the 2024 American Society for Hort Science Outstanding Extension Award, only one per year, and that's an international competition, and multiple other awards that our faculty have secured. Finally, we just like to stay in touch with our communities of people and to socialize and advance the science and extension and impacts of horticulture. These are our emeritus faculty and staff. They meet once a month, and I will typically enjoy them and have lunch with them once a semester and bring them up to speed on what's going on in our department. This is at the Governor's House, where February was declared a sweet potato month for North Carolina. This is at the Green and Grown in Greensboro, where Dean Fox came, and we interact with many industry members from the green industry. And this is at Cal Luce's place, faculty and extension personnel, as well as Tri-Histo, Josh May, where they're working on long cane berry and blackberries. Here's Tom Rainey and Craig Yensho. They got Entrepreneurial of the Year Award at NC State for different years, and also Ken Pacoda and Craig were co-awarded. So we've had a lot of fun with Randy Woodson and celebrating our faculty. And as I mentioned, both of them became fellows of the National Academy of Inventors. In fact, Craig Yensho, I think with Randy Woodson, we've had 3 celebrations and lit up the tower there at NC State, lit it up red 3 times in celebration of his accomplishments. And this is an example of Helen Krause getting the Alumni Distinguished Undergrad Award, and Gina Fernandez, North American Blackberry Growers Award, and here's Joe Neal getting an award from the IR4. So that just gives a highlight of who we are and what we do, and we really look forward to working with you to grow our department, to be more efficacious in all we do, and also to really address the state-based and national and global challenges that we face, and also the opportunities. Thank you very much, and we look forward to visiting with you on July 17th.